Welcome, everybody, to another Running Through the Jungle Friday night special pick'em show. But this is a playoff. Where'd my shit go? There, let's put that back up. There we go. I don't know if that's on timer or not.
I got it. I got to edit it off because you put divisional round. You forgot to change it to championship round.
Oh shit, I did. See, okay.
Yes.
See, that's what happens. Hey man, I've been starting work at like 4:30 in the morning and working until God knows when. I'm tired. I'm dog tired, ball. There we go. Welcome to another episode of Running Through the Jungle's NFL Playoff Championship Weekend. So Justin and I, we're going to have a conversation before we even start this show off, because I want to see what he has to say. I want to see what kind of fire he has to say about this. So Justin, you have Matt Stafford playing against the Seahawks this weekend. You have Drake May playing against the Broncos this weekend. Who's your MVP? If Matt Stafford, now let me give you another question too, or another hypothesis. This is, if Matt Stafford loses this game against the Seahawks, is he still the true MVP? What do you got to say, bud?
First of all, I just want to open up and say, look, this MVP race is one of the weakest I've seen in years, bro. I'm gonna be 100% honest. When they sent out the finalists, it featured Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, and I can't even remember the fifth guy because that's how bad it is. And that just told me that this MVP race this season is absolutely terrible. Now, I believe Matt Stafford is going to win it. And to follow up with your next question, if he loses to this championship weekend against the Seahawks, will he still be the front runner favorite? Well, yeah, because the thing is, voters stop voting once the regular season ends of who wins the MVP, and then anything that is added on in the playoffs is more of a surplus value. Remember in 2021 when Joe Burrow took his team to the Super Bowl, he was the real valuable person that should have won the award, but it ended up going to Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because they had the best record in the NFL and in the NFC. You can't just base their assumptions off of that. And I understand that Drake May has been solid, and he's been pretty good in the second year. Won the AFC East. But I just don't feel like the team is winning because of him. I think that they win along with him, but the team has really been productive around him. And this playoff is really showing you that he ain't really did shit for real. Like, he just don't turn the ball over as much as the quarterback counterpart that he goes against. Like, just think about that. In round one, he went against Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert shit the bed and had just a bad performance. Round two, CJ Stroud. Now, that Texans defense is lit, but the Patriots defense is also lit. And CJ Stroud just blundered it up where the Texans really should have won that game. So really, it was mainly that Drake May has been the beneficiary of not messing it up the most, if that makes sense.
So do you consider, and some of you in the chat, I see you're making comments, I'll get to you guys in a minute. So do you consider Drake May a game manager?
I think that it is too soon to determine what his actual level of quarterbacking is.
I'm asking you this year, not what he can be, what he could be. I'm talking about right now. Would you consider him a game manager? You would not consider him. We'll say this. The score is 30-30. There's 45 seconds left in the clock, and the Drake May and the Patriots have to charge down the field to win the football game. Now, we all know as football fans that if you gave Ben Roethlisberger too much time on the clock, Aaron Rodgers too much on the clock, I'm talking about in their prime, guys. I'm not talking about right now, but in their prime, like, you give John Elway or Joe Montana 45 seconds left on the clock. Do you think Drake May is going to march down the field to get them within field goal position or win the football game?
I don't believe so right now with him by himself. I think he can get there at some point, but this year alone, I think that he needs a number of things to go right. I also think that the circumstances around him need to go right, kind of like how they've been this year, to where, you've seen some moments where he had ice in his veins a little bit and he was able to help them ice the game. But I think that it was also conducive to the environment around him. Mike Vrabel putting him in really good situations. Josh McDaniels, the play caller, because people forget, Josh McDaniels is still one hell of an offensive coordinator. That's a really good circumstance to kind of be in, to kind of grow up in a little bit. So it's not like that I am Not saying that Drake May can't get there, but yeah, I think he is a game manager right now. I think that he's a game manager that just happened to be on a team that has produced quite a bit this year based off of the circumstances, the schedule and all that, the coaching. I think that they're just led more about coaching to where I feel like that if the circumstances with other teams that didn't make the postseason, like the Chiefs, like the Bengals, like the Ravens, if their situations didn't kind of falter down the stretch the way they did, and they would have been in these MVP conversations over Drake May, because those are guys that can actually ice the game when you need them to perform that clutch. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So I want to get some of these comments in here real quick. Hey, thank you guys, everybody, for watching, for listening. Make sure you go and like and you subscribe. Hit that like button. Hitting like and hitting subscribe is free. It don't cost you nothing. We're trying to grow this. We're honestly trying to grow this channel. This is something that we love to do. We're not only football fans, but we're also Bengals fans. But we love football all around. But hit that like button, subscribe. Share with your friends. Just share with everybody. Even though they might be a Colts fan or might be a Seahawks fan or whatever, be like, yo, man, these guys over here on Running Through the Jungle podcast, they also cover the NFL, and we're going to be doing this next year as well. And maybe I'll put in some special stuff going on throughout the off season. Maybe there'll be some change. We got coach changes coming up. Maybe we'll bullshit about the coaching changes after or maybe the week before or the week after the Super Bowl weekends are with. I don't know. We'll see. We'll come up with something. But like, subscribe, share with your friends. But real quick, I want to tell you guys, everybody, thank you guys for so much for being here. We got Austin Art in the chat, as always. We got my boy Chris Donalo in here as always. But Justin, because you made a comment about, we seen this comment before we started the show. Jaker Sam 1, I don't know who you are, but thank you. I'm glad you're here. You're making comments on the show. But he said Jarrett Stidham is going to do enough to put Denver in the Super Bowl. Justin, address the man. Address him.
Man, you look. Here's the thing, bro. This is a very underwhelming AFC Championship game that we're going to talk about. And quite frankly, Jarrett Stidham can do probably just what he is saying in the comments. Now, we'll save our picks for the end of the show when we get ready to do reviewing our picks and whatnot. I don't want to spoil that because we have to talk about the game in the nutshell. But there's an opportunity there for him. And I'm not going to bring up Nick Foles because he was a hot button topic this week after Bo Nix's broken ankle injury was announced. Now, everybody was starting to defer to the Nick Foles comment because he was like, well, the Patriots can't lose in this game against the shut up, man. I'm not bringing that up right now. I'm just not, okay? Entirely different circumstances, but at the end of the day, there's an opportunity still there. I'm not writing the Broncos off. So it looked at first like this was going to be an asinine comment, like he's just throwing something out there just to troll. But at the end of the day, man, I feel like there is an opportunity there for him.
We've seen it happen. We've seen backups come in there, take them to the Super Bowl, and win football games, win Super Bowls. We've seen it happen. You can't say it hasn't. He might be right. I don't know. Like he could be more right than I was last week with my picks. I was 1-3 last week. Justin, what were you last week? 2-2?
I was 2-2. I was 2-2. And the Buffalo Billies, man, they hurt me picking them because that's the one that I felt confident the most in. Actually, no, that's the second most that I felt confident in the most in. But yeah, man. But going back, because yes, while everybody in recent memory wants to bring up Nick Foles for backup quarterbacks, but I go back to even way further than this. I go back to Jeff Hostetler from the 1990 New York Giants.
How about
when
Steve
he took
Young
over for Phil Simms?
How about Steve Young taking over for Joe Montana?
But Steve Young was a starter, though. That's the thing. The difference is that
Joe Montana actually ended up getting hurt, and then he came in and finished out the rest of the season.
What year are you talking about? Because Steve Young obviously is a Hall of Famer now. In 1990, Joe Montana got hurt in that NFC Championship game. Steve Young had to come in and finish, but they didn't win the game. That was the same Jeff Hostetler-led Giants that they lost to that year.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I'm old and stupid.
Then in 91 and in 92, then that's when Young basically just kind of took over because Montana was hurt. And then in 92 and 93, that's where Young just basically kind of finished the ride off. And basically he was already taking over as the next guy. And so there was never a situation where he just kind of came in and started slinging in the midst of an injury like that and it was the next year
it was the next year Steve Young. Then it wasn't the year because the year Joe Montana got hurt, Steve Young came in, they lost. But then the next year they ended up winning. Didn't he end up winning like 2 more Super Bowls after that? 92 and 94.
Steve Young only won one. They only won one more Super Bowl, and that was in 94.
94,
because
okay.
91 was the Redskins at the time, and then 92 and 93 was the back-to-back Dallas Cowboys. They beat Steve Young's 49ers in the championship games in that time. And then in 94, Steve Young got the monkey off his back.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at me, being that football and being a football savant, bringing us some stuff.
Yeah, that's why I love having Justin on our show, because he can remember shit from God, godly knows, when from when. Because me, I recall stuff, but I can't remember exactly the dates in the time. Justin's like a Rolodex. So I can go, hey, Justin, what happened? This time, and he'd be like, this damn, bam, bam, bam. But anyways, you guys are here for us to talk about our review on the divisional review on the games. So we had the Broncos and the Bills. They went into overtime. Broncos, of course, won 30-33 or 33-30 in overtime. It was a really great game. Unfortunately, in the end, Bo Nix, hurt his ankle. There we go. I was wondering why that wasn't coming up, but it was a hell of a game. Both team, the defenses weren't all there really. It wasn't really a defensive battle, really, honestly. Yeah, there was a couple 3-and-outs, whatever, but it turned out to be a great show. One of the great football games that we did have. Justin, what's your review on this Bills and Broncos game?
So actually, the defenses were both pretty stout in both of these games. Now, don't let the score fool you there. They both actually stood tall. Like the Bills, all season long and going into the playoffs, the question was always for Buffalo is, can they stop the run? Well, they did a pretty good job in this game. For the Broncos, their defense has always been good. They always been lit. But the question was, can they stop Josh Allen and stop him from putting the superhero cape on? I'll go into each team real quick here briefly. For the Broncos, for me, they were very fortunate enough to win this game. Look, this tip your cap. They did it. They won the game. Bo Nix but I did not think Bo Nix was special by any means. I understand he threw it to go-ahead touchdown to get him up in the lead and get him ahead. But there was way too many meat left on the bone there to where they should have been able to put this game away. But Bo Nix and this offense just pissed down their leg and let Josh Allen come right back and stampede and score and tie the game and basically get themselves back into the game to almost steal the win from them. Because this game should have been over by midway during the third quarter. When Nick Bonito got that strip sack on Josh Allen, the Broncos basically did nothing with it. And then on offense, they basically just kept going 3-and-out. And it was just frustrating. Like, dude, okay, I get it. The Bills defense kind of showing up, but the play calling was not creative here for Denver. They honestly really should have. They should have basically blown the doors off of the Buffalo Bills on offense and scored more points. But 33 is still a good margin. It's still a good number. But most of this was, and I'm just going to let it flow right into it, was because of the turnovers by the Bills. Bills fans, if you're watching this later on, because right now you are taking shots like crazy by everybody in the media regarding Josh Allen's and this Bills team's performance. From a nudge, just by the landscape of the score, it may look like it was a good game. I predicted it was going to be a good game, but I predicted the Bills to win, and it'll be a close game, but like a field goal margin. Right. But this game really shouldn't have been close. And Josh Allen really was the reason why this team lost this game. He was also the reason why they got back in it, but that was also because the Broncos offense was bad and then closed out, while the Broncos defense did what they could to stave off the Bills. You weren't going to stave them off for long. But I think Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback. He is among the elite quarterbacks in this league that does have the ability to kind of somewhat perform in the clutch, especially during the regular season. But it just seems like for some reason in the playoffs, there's a ceiling there. And yes, Sean McDermott took a lot of this criticism because he got fired shortly after this game was over. But I think that Josh Allen's performance in this particular game was the reason why Sean McDermott got fired. Come on, you turned the ball over 4 times, and then James Cook fumbled another time. Yep. The interception that is very controversial. I feel like that too much people are talking about that, and that's not even the reason why they lost this game. the reason why he lost this game is because Josh Allen kept turning the ball over with uncharacteristic fumbles. Like the one before the first half was over with, that was the stupidest fumble of him just trying to do too much of all time. He gave the Broncos free 3 points. The Nick Benito one, that's a great play by Benito. Nick Benito got the strip sack. That was cool. But it just felt like
it was a great, it was a great fumble. A fumble calls on Cook as well. That hit.
Just that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like that the defense did stand tall. Don't let the score fool you here. I think that both defense did marginally well enough, even though 30+ points was put on the scoreboard by both squads here. But I just think that at the end of the day, the better team won because the Broncos had the overall better roster, comparatively speaking, to the Bills, with the outlier being that quarterback.
Right.
Bo Nix, all he just needed to do was just do not mess this up. He almost did, but just don't mess this up and let Josh Allen be the one that messes things up for him on his own. And that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. Now, I still think that the Bills were a great team. They still could have won this game. They could have, out of all the opportunities and all the mistakes and misfortunes that they had, and the uncharacteristic turnovers that they had in this game, they still had a chance to win this game at the end. But I also say that, Josh Allen, you missed a wide open touchdown throw to Dawson Knox that would have basically put you out in front on the lead. And the way that the Bills defense was playing, yes, it probably would have been less than a minute to go, but I was confident that the Bills was going to not allow them to score a touchdown because they would have been up 4 by that point.
Right.
So, and then even in overtime, when I thought that the Broncos went 3 and out, and I said that, Buffalo's getting a ball, the Broncos just pissed down their leg and missed the opportunity. I was thinking like, this is where the Bills going to win the game.
Yep, me too.
Then they didn't. So, yeah, man, a lot of different comments you can take and contextualize how this game was. But overall, man, look, I will tip my cap to the Broncos for pulling out this win. But really, the reason why they won this game outside of the defense was Sean Payton, man. Sean Payton is just showing you that he still got it as a head coach, that he still carries that championship brass from his years of being in New Orleans, and he won a Super Bowl back in 2009. He ain't got Drew Brees at quarterback, but you know what? He's still a damn good head coach that can make stuff happen.
Yeah, definitely. And then so the next one up, Saturday night beatdown. That's what it was. It was the Saturday night main event beatdown given to the 49ers by the Seattle Seahawks, 41-6. Now, let's just, there's not much to talk about on this besides that Seattle defense just whooped the 49ers ass, just like I said that was going to happen. I knew that Seahawks defense, a lot of people are like, Seahawks are only going to win this game by 3, or they're going to lose, or this and that. And my mother-in-law, the morning of the football game, and she's like, well, how are you feeling about the Seahawks? And I said, well, I wore my Seahawks jersey on our Pick'em show last night. She's like, oh, you did? She goes, I hope that don't jinx us. And I was like, really? I was like, the fact of the matter is the Seahawks have one of the top defenses in the league. And the way that I really viewed this game was because the 49ers and the Seahawks just played on week 18, and we saw what the Seahawks did to them as well. They didn't beat them down this bad, but man, congratulations, Seattle. You guys are playing on Sunday versus the Rams. It was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a coach game. It was a true, it gave the Seahawks a true, view of why the 49ers were really hurting in the positions they were hurting in. I know a lot of people are saying, Christian McCaffrey is in the ballots for MVP, but for what? For what?
Weak.
I don't know.
Weak.
I don't see. I don't understand why. What?
Yeah.
What? I just don't. I don't understand why. And I understand that he had, two over 2,000 yards, all-purpose yards. I understand that, but man, when your number one weapon out there on the field is getting shut down by that Seahawks defense, just put it to rest. Go home. Go to Cancun. Justin, I'm done talking about this game because we got some more football to talk about. Justin,
for sure.
What was your overall on the Seahawks 49ers game?
Look, I'm not going to go long-winded like I did on the Bills-Broncos game, just because at the end of the day, I'm glad you pointed out this comments. It was straight BTA. Straight BTA. The 49ers, they weren't in the class with Seattle. And I was foolish enough to predict that, hey, I predicted the Seattle Seahawks to win, but I was one that said I thought that the 49ers was going to at least cover the 7-point spread. Man, I was dead wrong. And then the first kickoff of the game to open up the game, it led to a touchdown by Rashid Shaheed. And from there, I was already like, okay, yeah, this may not even get close. Because you know how Seattle is. You live out there in the Pacific Northwest, Tim.
Yeah.
You know how it can be out there with the 12th man, that environment, bro. It is one of the premier home field advantages. And if you include that in the playoffs, bro, it damn near it's almost like a death sentence no matter who's walking into that stadium. And I just thought, well, the 49ers, they're a divisional foe. They should know how to play in this environment. They just staved off the Eagles on the road. And I felt like that they had the mentality, regardless of their makeshift roster, and had to come up with. And I thought also too the Fred Warner presence was going to help, even though he didn't play. Their makeshift coverage for who they didn't have all season long. I feel like that they've gelled together without, even in spite of those losses, that they will be able to do enough to make it somewhat of a nice game. Bro, it was not even dog. It was. Yeah, and I think the 49ers players know, like, yeah, this is over after the fourth quarter. So Seahawks, man, that defense is electrifying. And I have to walk back some of my comments that I made last week. I thought that Seahawks defense was great, but I didn't say that they were Legion of Boom. Dude, after that performance, they're probably on the threshold of probably potentially being better than that. Now, they ain't got like the name recognition of the Pro Bowlers right now. I get it. And I understand. Like they still have a way to go. But just think back to those 2012, 2013 Seahawks. Nobody was calling them the Legion of Boom until they actually went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl in 2013. That's what I'm basically saying, is that we are probably on the precipice, on the cusp of seeing LOB 2.0 here. That secondary is really good. That pass rush, that interior D line, man, they're really good. They don't have any weaknesses that you can speak of on that side of the ball, man. They rush their passer well. They play coverage well. Nick Eamon-Wari is the foundational piece in the secondary that you've been missing since let's call it, what is Earl Thomas probably.
And the Bengals should have drafted.
I mean, should have. Well, we're not talking about the Bengals right now. Even though this is Bengals podcast platform, whatever. But yeah, man, there's not a lot of weaknesses right now. There's just not a lot of name recognition that you know of right now. But I think that when it's all said and done, you're going to pay attention to a lot of those pieces on the secondary. And then Sam Darnold, just don't mess it up. That was my only fear that I thought that the Seahawks had that will ruin them, was that Sam Darnold was going to turn into this I'm seeing ghost self, and he never did. So yeah.
And the run game was good, Shaheed stepped up.
Kenneth Walker. Wow.
Yep. JSN. Yeah, it was a great game. All right, next one up was the first snow game that we had. The Texans versus the Patriots. That game ended up 28-16. Patriots win. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I was really disappointed with this Texans team all around. Not just CJ Stroud in the run game, but that defense as well. And I know they're playing and weather's going to take effect. I understand it. It is. It's going to. I don't care what anybody says. Weather is always going to take effect. But the Patriots were the better team were the better team out on that field, and they won this football game. They proved that Mike Vrabel coming into town, turning that program around, and now they're playing this week in the damn championship game. I applaud the Patriots because the Texans just did not have what it took to stop them, period. It just, and then with CJ Stroud, I don't know what's been his problem for the last 2 or 3 weeks, because it's been bad. And I'm not gonna take, and I'm not, by the way, guys, I'm not taking that bullshit take of people were saying, the Texans need to be done with CJ Stroud and all this bullshit. I ain't going there, because I believe, CJ Stroud just had a bad couple of games and, just didn't get it done, unfortunately for them. But they had a great season. They started off the season, what was it, 0-3, and then won like 9-10 games in a row. And, next they're playing in the conference game, against the Patriots. Great season, Texans. Justin, what do you say?
Well, CJ Stroud's definitely regressed. Let's call it what it is. I'm with you though. I don't feel like that the Texans have a quarterback problem. Maybe a quarterback in the playoffs problem, but not a quarterback problem. He's still your franchise quarterback. And Texas fans and and the other national media bullshitters, stop trying to swap out Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud in their jerseys. Stop trying to do that, man. Like, leave my quarterback alone. Just leave my quarterback be. This is the Bengals hat that's showing you stop talking about my quarterback on other teams, bro, because that is asinine. I think that this is a game where, for me, for the Patriots, it definitely gave me flashback vibes of 2003, 2001, those early-esque New England teams, the pre-dynasty kind of dynasty New England Patriot years of early Brady and Belichick, whereas like they were winning and they've won, like, I'll take 2003, for example, or 2001, either one. But 2003, whereas that even though they've won the Super Bowl, then you still just really couldn't buy stock into this Patriots because you just felt like that Brady, while he's great, he's still not Manning. Like, people don't remember that Tom Brady was viewed like that back then. Nobody was viewing him as the GOAT, even with 2 Super Bowls on his ring fingers at the time, like they were Peyton Manning. Like, they had him way above there. And I feel like with this Patriots team, it feels very much encumbersome of what Bill Belichick built back then. And this has been reiterated and reshuffled with Mike Vrabel and his start of this era of this New England Patriots roster and this team. Drake May, he's not being asked to do a lot right now. Now, I get it. The numbers are going to tell you he's one of the more accurate deep ball passers in the NFL. I understand that wholeheartedly. But a lot of that has to do with opponent and competition that you see throughout the year, where that's not always a great stat to lean on a year-to-year basis. Drake May also didn't play really well in this game. But you know who played well? The rest of the team. Ramondre Stevenson ran well. The guy from Travion Henderson ran really well. They have veteran leaderships on this team now. Stephon Diggs, he caught a touchdown in this game and was a motivator on his squad. Keyshawn Boutte, that made a great catch in the end zone. That was an insane catch by him. That's probably one of the catches of the year. The defense, again, we talked ad nauseum about how the Texans defense, and I mentioned that the Texans had one of those defenses to where from the last 10 years, you can probably put them up there as one of the best that you've seen. Well, that last weekend, the Patriots also performed like one of the best defenses that you've seen in a long time. They were just getting after CJ Stroud. CJ didn't have a chance. And again, this is one of those games to where, like, it was encumbersome of, I just don't feel like the quarterback play is reflective enough in this league. It was bad quarterback play from both sides, but Drake May, he just didn't make the mistakes that CJ Stroud made. And that's really why they won this game. Because if you take away the turnover, CJ Stroud literally looked like a backup quarterback in the first half, to the point people were questioning, should he even come back on the field in the second half? And if CJ Stroud limited his turnovers, maybe just only had one turnover and then performed better down the stretch, there's an argument that can be said like the Texans could have won this game, which I believe, and I predicted the Texans to win this game off of just that logic. I didn't think that CJ Stroud was going to carry the performance he had against the wild card round against the Steelers into the divisional round, but he certainly did, man. He just certainly did. And like I said, for Drake May, tip my cap to him. You got a home playoff win, another back-to-back playoff wins, 1-2 in your first year in the postseason. But they didn't have to ask you to do too much, bro. All you just had to do was just not mess it up.
Yep. All right, next one, and the last divisional game, the last divisional game we had was the Rams versus the Bears, 20-17. That game, man, there was so much snow going on. I think didn't it start with like rain, and then it turned into snow, and then it was blowing wind like 500 miles per hour in the Windy City, and it was like negative 20 below in Chicago at the time. I don't know, but it was a pretty good. It was an interesting game. There was a lot of back and forth. You know, it was a low-scoring game, as I predicted it would be. It still went over the over and under because I think the over and under was like 45.4, and I predicted it was going to go to the under. I picked the under on it, so I was wrong about that. But it was pretty damn close. Look at 20-17. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. It still is an under.
You got it.
I did get the under. Oh, my gosh. Do the math, Tim. 2 + 2 = 6 today, I guess. But, 20-17, so I was right. I picked the under. Only 37 points scored. Matt Stafford is still that dude. I'm going to say that right now. Matt Stafford is that dude. He is, 38 years old, 39 years old, whatever, 38. I think he's 38. Been in the league since the NFL was invented, He's still out there playing ball with these young kids, throwing dime pieces, doing what he needs to do. He's my MVP. He's been my MVP, I think, since week 6 or 7 when we started talking about it, Justin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like I said, and I made the prediction that it's going to come down to, the Rams and some other teams that are going to be playing for the Super Bowl, are going to be, playing to get into the Super Bowl. We're not going to get into that. I'll get into that in a little bit. But, the Rams, they played good ball. Their defense, was bringing pressure on Caleb Williams with just 4 guys. It was crazy. And then you had Caleb Williams, which I don't know where he learned this. This is my biggest problem with Caleb Williams. One, he played for USC. I hate USC quarterbacks. If you guys have watched our shows in the past, I bring it up all the time. I never really liked Caleb Williams, but I was picking them to win. And I picked them to win this game too. But unfortunately, they lost. But that one play that Caleb Williams had, he dropped back I want to say it was 10, 15 yards. And then the tight end was wide open in the end zone for a touchdown. I'm like, holy shit. That should never happen. That should never happen. But the coverage broke down, and the tight end was over there going, hey, Caleb, throw the ball to me. But it was a great game. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears. What a great season. Who would have thunk it that, the Bears going from, trash to, the division winner and, playing in these big playoff games. And, I see that improvement that the head coach has brought him, since he came from Detroit. He's made a lot of improvements to that team, even defensively and offensively. Caleb Williams he's matured, but he still has those happy feet. And I think that happy feet gets him in trouble a lot. But congratulations to the Rams for winning this game. Justin, what do you got to say?
Well, when that Hail Mary throw that Caleb Williams threw was caught and completed, I thought the Bears were going to win the game. I did pick the Rams to win this game, and I ended up getting it right. But I thought once that pass was caught in the end zone for them to go ahead and go for the tie, I was like, dude, Chicago has all the momentum on their side now. This game goes into overtime. It doesn't matter. I think the Bears are going to come out with a win here. And it didn't happen that way, but that also shows a testament of how great of a coach Sean McVay also is. And people tend to forget that he's still right there on the other side that you got to know how to coach against too. Because after that play happened, and I've seen film clips of this, Sean McVay gathered his team and it's like, put it behind you. It's a new start. It's overtime. Go out there and find a way to win this game. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because many other teams in that situation, and I've seen it firsthand as a Bengals fan, when another team makes a great play like that, you're deflated. It's almost like, okay, it's over. But that was a hell of a throw. And honestly, in the situation of do or die, it's your season on the line and it's the playoffs and it's win or go home. You got to do something. And that was a pure desperation kind of throw. It really reminded me of the Mile High Miracle back in 2012 when the Denver Broncos went on the road the Baltimore Ravens went on the road at Denver. And then Joe Flacco bested Peyton Manning. But part of that was he threw the Mile High Miracle to Jacoby Jones, just running up muddy pocket, just launched that bad boy. And then landed in Jacoby Jones's hands and then scrambled into the end zone. And that tied the game. All the momentum went to the Ravens side. And I thought the same thing was going to happen to the veteran Rams team here. Because the Rams, they got some young pieces on their roster, but they kind of have veterans on that roster too. We just think of the Rams as, Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua. But Devontae Adams is there. You got Kyron Williams is kind of growing up a little bit. Tyler Higbee's there. Like, they got some people that you can sort of lean on as somewhat of a, maybe not as old as Matt Stafford, but they kind of have that presence about them where they've seen winning at a high level at now, a few years deep into their Rams career at this point. And that's the thing that carried it on for me. And I just felt like Matt Stafford, he's played really well in these spots as of late. And he's made such a huge jump in his career of what he was used to be looked as a guy in Detroit that was overshadowed by the Aaron Rodgers of the world to now somebody that you might see him pass up the supremacy ladder when it comes to hierarchy quarterback rankings of all time. You may see Matt Stafford surpass him at that point. So,
Well
and look, I'm not just basing it off of that, but this game also symbolized why he's my MVP as well. Last week, but this past weekend was another one that symbolized why he was the MVP for me. And yeah, man, tip my cap to him. It's going to be one hell of a game with the Rams and Seahawks. I'm here for it.
It is. It's going to be a hell of a game. Now, that being said, let's take a quick commercial break just in case if Braden decides to put this on the podcast where we can have that one commercial break in here so he's not yelling at me and going, why didn't you guys do a commercial break? But anyways, we'll be right back. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Running Through the Jungles AFC and NFC Championship Weekend Special with your hosts, Justin Lacey and Tim Lyons. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. So we just talked about the divisional games last week. Mm-hmm. Let's get into the championship games. Let's get into why the people are they're probably tired of hearing us being windbags about some games that already were played and we already know who won and all that other stuff.
They want to hear our thoughts. They want to hear our thoughts, and this is the podcast. We got people in the live comments. We got people in the live stream. They want to hear us talk a little bit because we only got 2 games to talk about now. Okay,
we do. We only have 2 games. So. All right, so let's get into it. First game up, Justin. I'm gonna let you take this one. First one up, the Patriots versus the Broncos. It is a 4.5 point spread. 42.5 over under. What do you got to say, bro?
Man, as I said, kind of to open the show, this is going to be one of the most unentertaining AFC Championship games that I've seen in recent years. It feels very borderline of Blake Bortles versus Tom Brady in 2017. Although you're still watching that just because you're hoping that the better quarterback wins, so that way the best quarterback can land into the Super Bowl. Not like you were rooting for a Patriots fan, but you weren't rooting to see Blake Bortles in the Super Bowl, okay?
No.
This just feels like that to me. And I get it. Patriots fans are going to argue when they hear that comment, if they were to hear this comment, and say, well, Drake May. I already mentioned about Drake May. He's a good quarterback. He ain't a great quarterback yet, even though I know that he's in the MVP conversation this year. But I'm not fooled by that. I'm not fooled by the stats. I know what my eyes telling me. It's been very subpar quarterback play throughout these playoffs for the most part, and that includes Drake May. There is an opportunity here for the Denver Broncos, even though I know they're going to be without Bo Nix, because again, Bo Nix has also haven't been this highly touted quarterback. They have the number 1 seed, and they play like a team that deserved the number 1 seed, surprisingly, last week against the Bills. But I think this should make for somewhat of an entertaining, fun game because I don't think that the quarterbacks need to be spectacular or need to be all worldly in this game. I think this game is truly going to be decided by the defense and who makes the biggest play as a team overall. And it doesn't matter how it looks. It can be one of those ugly, somewhat mid-20s scoring range kind of thing. So I do kind of like where the spread is for the over-under at 42.5. I think I may cautiously bet the over and get like 44 points between the 2 teams, just because I feel like that there is going to be that pick 6 or a fumble recovery that goes for a touchdown or something like that, and maybe a kick return for a touchdown. I think you're going to see an uplifting of the team overall, but I also can see a beatdown too, an uncharacteristic beatdown at that. All that to be said, while I do see that there is an opportunity for the Broncos to still win this game with Jarrett Stidham, I think I'm going to go with the New England Patriots, and they get to walk to the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel gets to have a first appearance for a first-year head coach for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Do I like it? No, I really don't. Just because at the end of the day, these 2 teams, I feel like that they are where they are, but there is definitely some unknown here with the Broncos starting Jarrett Stidham. He's a veteran, but I just don't know what I'm going to get from him. And I feel like in this spot, I'm just going to bet with what I know so far, team culture-wise. They both have great cultures, but I think I'm going to like the Patriots here in this one.
Oh,
I think
sorry,
you're on mute.
guys. Yeah, I was on
Come
mute.
on, Tim. Come on,
You know,
Tim.
I know. Well, I'm sitting here looking and doing 5,000 different things at once. I kind of agree with you. I don't know if this is going to be an eventful game or not, especially with Bo Nix being out. We got Jarrett Stidham. I believe he's only started like 5 NFL games in his career so far. You're being the backup of the starter for all this time, this whole season long, and then now you're being tapped on the shoulder to start the football game in the AFC Championship game versus the Patriots. And that Patriots defense has been playing good ball. Patriots are scoring when they need to score. The Broncos, on the other hand, I know last week they played against the Bills. I understand it's a different offense that they're going to be facing. But that Broncos defense is really going to have to step up and get them the ball in the red zone so they can make short field work and score points. I think that's the only way the Broncos are going to win this game. Yeah, the Broncos are playing at home. It is January. I don't know how the weather is out in Colorado, but I know across the rest of the United States of America, y'all are getting snow and ice storms and all kinds of stuff, and it's cold as hell out. So, but Patriots playing the cold, Broncos playing the cold. They're playing in Mile High Stadium though, which is a different altitude, breathing's differently, and it's gonna be even cold if it's cold, which it will be because Colorado, of course. The breathing's going to be different. Players are going to get tired. But I still believe that the Patriots have the better offense to take this game away from the Broncos. I think if the Patriots manage the football, manage time, they can wear that Broncos defense out, and eventually the Broncos defense is going to break and they're going to put up points on the board. You're going to either give the ball to Stidham or to Stevenson, or you're going to give the ball to Trayvon Henderson, throwing short passes to Stephon Diggs or to the tight ends. I think that Patriots offense has what it takes to win this game. It might not be eventful. I think it's going to be I still think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to come down to, like, if it was me, I would be taking the Broncos and the points. That's what I would do, because I think it's going to come down to 3 points because of both of these teams. How they've been playing, the weather, the altitude, the cold. So I think it's going to be a 3-point game, and the Broncos they actually get the points and they win this game. So I'm taking the Patriots though over the Broncos, but if I was to bet, I'd be taking the Broncos and the points, but I'm taking the Patriots in this case over the Broncos. Next one up, and absolutely not least, the Rams are coming into Seattle. 46.5 over under, 2.5 point spread. Justin, we've seen some great Rams and Seahawks football games. The 2 games that they played, the first game, the Seahawks got beat because Sam Darnold was out there seeing Sam Darnold of Ghost Madden pass, and he was threw 4 interceptions, and the Rams capitalized and kicked their ass. Then the next game comes along, and the Seahawks pull it off. It was in overtime, wasn't it, Justin? Yeah, I believe it was in overtime. JSN catches the game-winning touchdown, and they win the game. There was a lot of funky stuff that happened during that game. But that being said, Justin, the Rams are coming into Seattle, into CenturyLink Field, the Clink, probably the loudest stadium with these fans in the NFL. Who are you taking, Justin?
I feel like you and I want to take the same team here. Because how can you not like Seattle at this point, bro? How can you not like what they've done? I'm going to do it. They haven't let me down all playoffs. And I think that this is the game where I feel like the Rams are going to truly show that they're the Super Bowl favorites. And I look, I'm rooting for both of these teams to win this. Like, I'm just rooting for an absolute cinema classic, kind of like what we saw with the second meeting on Thursday night when these two teams played, and then the Seahawks end up going for that 2-point conversion and ended up getting the win. I'm really rooting for that type of kind of game for this championship game. This is the better of the two. This is the best for last. I'm glad we saved it for this.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks defense, I already spoke ad nauseum how much I really like that defense. I also really like that the offense of the Seahawks is so good. Their special teams is really good. There's no holes on Seattle's team whatsoever. There's also really no holes on the Rams team whatsoever. So it's like that, who do you pick to win a game like this? I just get this gut feeling that the Rams are going to find this weird way to pull off this victory. And I think this will be the signature game that will get Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator, a head coaching job. And they're going to always point to a game like this. It's like, hey, look, we went on the road in a hostile environment to the 12th man in Seattle. They have this team. They had this offense. JSN is the best receiver. Well, not the best, but he's unquestioned top 5 receiver in football, leading the league in yards. And the Rams defense neutralizes them. But they still got Kenneth Walker. They still got a run game too. So they won't be with Zach Charbonnet, who also got injured, is going to miss the rest of the playoffs. But the Rams, man, I think that if there is one team throughout this whole entire NFC playoffs that has the ability to go on the road to Seattle, it was always Los Angeles Rams. It was always going to be them. It was never the Eagles. It was never the 49ers. It was never the Panthers. It was never the whatever other NFC team. The Bears I liked, but they would not have the muscle, and they wouldn't have had the brain power and the creativity function to be able to outlast a Seahawks team such as this. The Rams do. And I think the veteran coaching style of Sean McVay now, because it's funny to think that Sean McVay is the veteran head coach, because you and I remember when he first came into the league in 2016 or 2017, dude was just cooking from the jump as the youngest coach in the NFL at the time. And then nearly a decade later, he's still doing it. And I've been nothing but impressed with him so far. And I think that he can make another signature mark by going on the road in a tough environment to win this game. So, look, I'm gonna do it. I'm rooting for a great game. And I honestly do not care who wins this game, because I'm honestly, spoiler alert, they're going to pick. I think that they're the better team when it comes to them in the AFC in the Super Bowl. But I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams do it, and they're going to be in the Super Bowl for a third time in Sean McVay's franchise tenure.
Yeah. Whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl. Whoever
I agree.
is the winner of these two teams is going to win the Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody says. They both have the better, I believe, the better defense. They both have the better offense. Yeah, Stafford is the better quarterback out of all 4 teams. Stafford is. Kenneth Walker is probably the best running back of all 4 teams. JSN is, well, it's a draw between Puka Nacua and JSN, for me, that is, are the best wide receivers out of these 2 teams. You know, out of the 4 teams that are playing in the championship games this weekend. And see, and that's the problem that I'm having with this game, is because early in the season, Justin, what did I say? I said Matt Stafford was going to win the MVP, and he's going to take the Los Angeles Rams to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Did I not say that?
You did.
So, with everything that's been going on, you know, because I do live in Seattle. My wife's side of the family, they're all Seahawks fans, and I root for the Seahawks. You know, when they're not playing against us, you know, of course I do. I root for them. They're my team where I live at. My hometown team is what I'll say. They're my hometown team. Not what I was born. But I still bleed orange and black stripes. My Bengals is my team, and that's the problem that I'm having right now, Justin. I'm having my fandom for the Seahawks, and I know what they can do and the defense can do. But then I've seen what the Los Angeles Rams can do, and I know how they play the Seahawks, and I know how the Seahawks play them. You know, is Father Luck going to come on whose side of the field? Is it going to be the Rams or the Seahawks? And I know you guys can say no Diddy because I said what I said. But
that's the homies podcast, bro. We ain't copying a swag. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, like I'm literally having a hard time picking this game. Seahawks, they have a great defense. Kenneth Walker's running the ball really well. Charbonnet, I really haven't really been paying attention on what if he's done for the season. He's done it for the playoffs. Never mind. Charbonnet's out, but they still have JSN. The Seahawks have a pretty good defense or offensive line. We already know what their defense can do. The Rams defense, they can. I think they're like the most pressures by front four in the NFL. Turnover ratios ungodly too for the Rams. And I like Matt Stafford. I like Matt Stafford. But I would love to see Sam Darnold, get out of his Sam Darnold of Madden past shadow, those ghosts that everybody says that he has. And, can Sam Darnold overcome Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams and win this game and take him to the promised land, to the championship, to the Super Bowl, excuse me. I have that fight going on in my head right now, Justin. Like,
come on, man. I know you like make a pick. You got this. I got 9 more minutes till we hit an hour on the show. I can sit here and talk all day long. But guess what? I'm not going to talk anymore. Talk's cheap. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks over the Rams. They're going to the Super Bowl, baby. That's who I'm picking. The Seahawks over the Rams. I think it's going to be a great game, and I have mad respect for the Rams. I really do. They're a great football team. Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, and let's believe it or not, Sean McVay probably has pretty much close to the staff that he had the last time he went to the Super Bowl. So that staff is ready, and I think they're a great team. And and I could be wrong, and the Rams could win this game, and then they're going to the Super Bowl. But I won't be mad about it. Like, I won't be pissed off and mad and heartbroken about it. Now if this was the Bengals versus the Steelers playing for the AFC Championship, I'd be pissed as hell. But in this case, but I'm picking the Seahawks over the Rams. Justin, there's one more thing that I wanted to get to before we wrap this show up. And I know we normally just, say, oh, thank you everybody for watching, listen. But you guys, thank you so much to the chat. I saw Mary Edwards was in there. Our boy Austin Art, my military buddy and one of my best friends for 20 plus years, Mike Miller was in he was in there. We appreciate everything you guys do. Without you guys, without our fans, without our subscribers and our viewers, it would be useless to have this show. This show would not be anything without you guys. But subscribe and watch. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and share with your friends. But one more thing I wanted to get to before we wrap this all up. Way too early Super Bowl prediction winner. Justin, with your pick, so we both picked the Patriots. And I know we already alluded to who we think is going to win a Super Bowl, but I want to make it kind of a official thing. Mm-hmm. So you picked the Patriots to win, and then you picked the Rams to win. Mm-hmm. What's your way too early Super Bowl prediction? The reverse effect of what we saw in 2001 when the Patriots and Rams met in that Super Bowl, Tom Brady's first appearance. Let me take you back to history a little bit, because I think that everybody knows the 2001 season being really vilified because of the Tuck rule in the Raiders. Mm-hmm. But this game also was won by the Patriots because of the crazy overtime, playing for overtime versus going for the win in regulation. That infamous John Madden call where the Patriots had the ball with less than a minute to go. Madden was talking about, I think they should play for overtime or whatnot. They shouldn't be doing this. And then Brady leads them down the field for Adam Vinatieri to kick a game-winning field goal. I think the inverse is going to happen. I believe that the Rams are going to be the team to win it all in the end, and they're going to have the ball last and win the game on the final possession. That's how I feel like that's going to go. I also can see the Rams just fly out, blowing out the New England Patriots, but I do got respect for Mike Vrabel and that team that he's built, the culture that he's invigorated for them. I also do have crazy amount of respect for that Patriots defense. They showed me quite a bit during these playoffs that they are no joke. Okay.
Right.
I get it. The attention has gone to the Texans. They've gone to the Seahawks. They've gone to the Denver Broncos about how great those defenses have performed. But the Patriots should be lumped in all of that too. Maybe near the bottom of that list potentially, but they perform like a top 5 defense throughout this entire playoffs. Okay. And I think that if the Patriots were to somehow take this team to the Super Bowl, which we're predicting, and win the Super Bowl, all the glory is going to be thrown on Drake May's shoulders. Like, oh my gosh, he's the second coming of Tom Brady, yada, yada, yada. No, and then they're going to forget that this Patriots defense exists. But this, I'm going to be giving the respect where it's given in now to that side of the ball, because man, that defense is legitimate. Milton Williams is fantastic. Christian Barmore is nice, and Christian Gonzalez is one of those stud corners. But I just predict that no matter what, I feel like that Matt Stafford is truly going to cement that he belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame by winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I do. I totally agree with you. But with my Super Bowl prediction, I actually see the Seahawks whooping the shit out of the Patriots. I think that defense does some strange, weird things to these teams. It makes them second guess their play calling, and they just do some weird shit. That being said, I think Kenneth Walker is the Super Bowl MVP, 100+ rushing yards. I could be wrong. That's what the whole point of this way too, and I could be right. But that's the point of this way too early Super Bowl prediction. Welcome, Afton, from the Pittsburgh side, but thank you for always supporting us. But anyways, that wraps up the show, everybody. Justin, you got any parting shot or thoughts or final thoughts?
If you are listening to this podcast so far, whether it's via the live stream or later on doing a recording later, and you're located in the Midwest in the Northeast section of this country, please be careful. We are due to get a massive winter storm this weekend to where it's going to probably put some folks out of power. Grocery stores are really out there crazy right now, and packed, and they're running out of food. It's really funny to think about that. I'm glad I got my grocery shopping out the way, but just do everything you can to stay safe out there. Because at the end of the day, we can talk glowingly all we want to about football, but this is we actually got some real life stuff that we got to battle here, and inclement weather is really on the horizon. So be careful, be safe. I know we're projected here in Cincinnati to potentially get up to 12 inches of snow, and it could be more, whatever, could be also less, but we're taking cautionary steps in the proper directions here, and I encourage you all to do the same.
Yeah, everybody stay safe out there. I know I talked to my brother today, and he's up in Lima, Ohio, so right up 75 from you, Justin. It was like 5 degrees already this morning, or sorry, this afternoon. It was like 5 degrees. And I'm like, damn, that's cold. And I know there's, friends of mine that are in Virginia. They're projected to get like 2 or 3 inches of ice, and then possible up to 20 inches of snow. I'm like, holy shit, Mother Nature is going to kick your guys' asses. I was like, what is this? The day after tomorrow? You guys remember that movie, right? Where the ice freezes over New York and all that crazy shit.
Oh yeah, but I remember.
On the serious level though, be safe out there. Make sure that you guys got extra food and water, all that stuff, just in case if your guys' power or anything goes out. I know I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, and when we get those stupid ass windstorms that come in and knock out our power and all that stuff. But be safe. I'll keep you guys in my prayers. But again, thanks for watching, for listening. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends, you share with your neighbors, cousins, uncle down the streets, nephew, and catch us next. Well, yeah, we'll be back next week, more than likely, because we'll have to go over these who's going to the Super Bowl games, and then maybe we'll just talk about the teams, whatever. Maybe give you guys some Super Bowl predictions, our actual Super Bowl predictions from who wins the games. But I already know who wins the game because it's the ones that I picked. Justin's going to be wrong, and he's only going to have the Patriots going, and that's it. And if that's the case, if I go 2-0 this week, I might have to be the champ, Justin. I might just have to be the champ. I might just have to crown myself the champ. I don't know. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. You guys take care.